Hey everyone, so my name's Solomon. I'm the founder and CTO of .cloud, and I'm going to talk about Docker. All right, so suspecting that I would be talking to an audience of mostly technical and expert people, I looked for the shortest slide deck I had, and what I'm hoping to do is dive into demos, if you guys are down for demos. And then as soon as possible, since I know at least some of you have been playing with Docker and are thinking about different ways of using it, hopefully we can go into questions and we can steer this in the direction that you guys want. So first things first, Docker is an open source project. It's a project that we released at .cloud a few months ago. And by the way, .cloud is a platform as a service. So we deploy and host and manage applications for developers who don't want to spend the time and the money in managing the infrastructure themselves. So if you guys know about Heroku, then .cloud is a competitor of Heroku. And so we've open sourced Docker, which is really at the core of a lot of the technology at .cloud. And it started as a side project and then surprised us, basically, by becoming pretty much the most successful thing we've ever done. And these numbers are completely out of date, by the way. I think now we're more around 160 contributors. I think we're just reaching 6,000 GitHub stars. And the project is basically, it's 5 months old, right? So imagine, put yourself in my shoes. We're putting out this side project, seeing if people are interested. And then a few months later, 160 people actually contributed code into it. So we've had to organize pretty seriously to deal with that unexpected popularity, and obviously it's a very good problem to have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why this is so exciting. By the way, this is the ego slide. A lot of engineers are playing with it, experimenting with it, and although it's not production ready, some people on this slide may or may not be ignoring our advice to not use it in production yet. So it's popular, and so the typical question I get is, why is it so popular? What's the big deal? Especially if you know about the underlying technology, you might be wondering, well, I knew about containers, so what's changed? So the high-level story here, the reason I think it's popular is that basically shipping code to a server is really hard. It should not be hard. We have become experts at working around that difficulty as a profession, but really it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't take that much expertise, right? Especially if you compare it to getting code into a mobile device. The level of tooling that is available to everyone out of the box is just still needs a lot of work, let's put it that way. And so you guys know all this, but also I'll keep it short. But once upon a time, the typical stack looked like this: the server, the framework, the stack, and that was it, right? The server with a capital S. And now it looks more like this, right? You've got a software stack that is much more distributed and complex and diverse. It's service-oriented. It's loosely coupled components, different languages, different frameworks. That might change over time. And that software stack needs to run on a hardware infrastructure that itself is becoming larger and more complex and more diverse, right? It starts with your laptop, your colleague's laptop, the test machine, QA, your in-house cluster, the public cloud cluster, cross-cloud deployment. Increasingly, you've got software companies that offer a SaaS service, and then their customers say, hey, I would like an appliance of that, right? Can you ship that as an appliance? By the way, I run this or that infrastructure setup. And so you have a more complex software stack that needs to run on a more complex and diverse